There we go.
Hello, 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 everyone. As you know, I'm Wanda Payton, and
I'm Suzanne Jessica Arriaga.
tonight we're so excited to present Week 11, Understanding the DISC Personality Assessment. Each week before we get started, we just like to take a moment and set an intention for our time together. So let's do that tonight, because it's a lot of powerful information. I think every class has held its own in terms of information that will help each one of us if we need to use it or need to fall back on it or choose to use it. And this week's no different. And so I just set an intention that everyone is open to learning more about their own inside feelings or personality, what makes them tick. I hope that and set an intention that you'll begin to discover why you react the way you do to certain stimuli or circumstances, and that you'll be able to also understand how to focus on the brilliances in your personality and really highlight those areas as you continue to grow. What's your intention tonight, Suzanne?
Mine would be pretty much the same thing for us to just really, for those of us that are familiar with the DISC, to get a better understanding. For those, I think some of us probably haven't heard of it before, to understand what it is and how it can help us once we understand ourselves. And then as we were talking a little bit ago, how if people we know take the test or the assessment, how it can help us to understand why they do some of the things they do.
So, oh, yeah, huge.
So now,
go
through a
go ahead.
A few little housekeepings as usual. Of course, we are going to be recording this as usual, and when we share private interactions, we will pause the recording for a moment and then keep recording it. As always, we will have the recording available on the Facebook group, 12 Weeks to Harnessing Your Energy in 2017, as soon as possible and for sure before Monday. And during the recorded segment, please make sure you eliminate any background noise. As always, hit *6, but remember to unmute if you decide you want to speak. And obviously participating, the more you participate, the more you're going to get out of it. So, a little housekeeping, as always, and I think let's talk a little bit, instead of doing questions, this time we're going to do a little review of last week. So last week we went over understanding and managing your emotional scale. For those of you that listened to it, hopefully you got a lot out of it. And basically what it was is that we learned how to understand our emotions and how important it is to understand our emotions, and then how to shift our emotions up the scale a little bit so we could feel a little more confident and able to handle things in our lives.
Okay. Good stuff. Thank you, Suzanne. And now for tonight's topic. Here we go. The DISC. How well do you know your personality? And this is not only your personality, but those around you in your life. Today we're going to share information from, well, one of the people is Robert A. Rome. He's a PhD, and his article, A Powerful Way to Understand People Using This Method, this DISC Personality Assessment. And we not only, we would add not only to understand others, but to understand ourselves. And I think most of the people on this call that I've coached have been exposed in some way to the DISC, and at least you've tipped your toes in the water. You understand that each person has a unique personality traits. Each person's perspective is built into who they are. And some people call it personality. Some refer to it as temperament. You've heard that. You ever notice how different that your family and friends can be from you? If you're like me, you've asked this question, why did they do that? Or what were they thinking? The starting point of understanding people, of course, is to realize and accept one simple fact. Everyone is not like us. As a matter of fact, last night, my oldest daughter came home with, and she was talking about something at work, and she said exactly that. She said, I said this to so-and-so, and she said this, can you believe that? And we started to dissect this person's personality just based on what she does. She's an accountant, and it made perfect sense. Everyone is not like us. Have you ever said the same thing to two people and received two different reactions? How can the same words produce such different results? Each person, of course, heard you differently based on his or her personality style. You said the same thing, but they heard something different. Different is not bad. It's just different. A lack of understanding of ourselves and others can lead to real problems, such as tension, disappointment, hurt feelings, unmet expectations, and poor communication. And as you know, it's hard to work with a problem, especially if you do not understand what's going on the inside, in the mind of another person. So tonight, we bring this presentation to you in an effort to provide information, to begin to really understand the differences in ourselves and people we deal with in our everyday life.
And as Wanda said, the good news is there's a simple way to understand people and how people behave and how they're motivated. And like she said, the concept is called the DISC model of human behavior. And this concept will allow you to unlock the mystery behind developing good people skills and creating better relationships. And you'll also be able to learn what you use in this class to reduce conflict, improve productivity, and also to relate with others more effectively.
So,
good news.
What is the DISC personality assessment test? Well, DISC is a measure of observable personality traits and a powerful predictor of future behavior. How cool is that? It is universally accepted and highly validated as an instrument for measuring behavior tendencies and provides a common language, which is important, for talking about human behavior, and provides a doorway for open communication.
And it's actually a really cool tool because it can tell us how we're motivated, what type of environments we prefer to work in, our strategy for accomplishing tasks, how we communicate with others, how we react to stress, that's good to know, what methods we use to influence others, and what things will have an influence on us.
So if you want to know where this came from, the behavior style motto was actually developed by William Moulton Marston. He's a PhD over 75 years ago. Next slide. And this old guy became one of the most he developed this, and there he is. He developed this, and it's been one of the most widely used models for understanding the behavior differences in people. There were two other models before him that didn't really hold water. They were trying to figure out, even before William Marston, why people were different. One used a method of where you were born and how close you were to water, and one used fluids in your body. And this one came out in 1926, and this has been the most reliable one. So The contributing factors to our personality proclivities is actually heredity, role models up to the age of 12, and experiences in our life up to the age of 8.
So how does the DISC assessment work? Well, the DISC profile is a non-judgmental tool used for discussion of people's behavioral differences. If you participate in a DISC program, as many of you have, you'll be asked to complete a series of questions that produce a graph, like this one, and a detailed report about your personality and your behavior. The DISC model provides a common language that people can use to better understand themselves and adapt their behaviors with others. Within a team, or in a sales relationship, a leadership position, or even your relationships at home. The DISC profiles can help you and your team or your family increase your self-knowledge on how you respond to conflict. What motivates you, what causes you stress, and how you solve problems. It can help you improve work relationships by recognizing communication needs of your team and your family members. It can also facilitate better teamwork and minimize team conflict, develop stronger sales skills by identifying and responding to customer styles, and also helps you manage more effectively by understanding the dispositions and priorities of not only your employees or team members or your family. And then also it gives you more knowledge about yourself and your personality and how you operate.
So before we move that slide, go back. When you take the DISC assessment, you will receive 3 graphs, actually. We're only showing one. One graph will be your first graph will be your public self. It'll be the self that you show when you're at work or when you're being watched. And then the next graph will be your core self. That's who you really, really are. In fact, that's what you revert to when you're under stress and you're not thinking about masking anything. And then the third graph will be how you think you're being perceived. It's a very interesting set of dynamics. And what we find when we look at this, and we're going to talk more about this, is that the center graph, your core self, if it's very different from your public self, it shows stress, that there's stress in maintaining that. You might have to pretend to be something you're not while you're at work because you know, those are the demands of the job. So I just wanted to say that. So what does a DISC stand for? And what do these letters mean? Well, D stands for dominance, I for influence, C for compliant, and S is steadiness. Okay, so we're going to talk about each one of these characteristics now.
So first we're going to start talking about our Ds. Our Ds, like Wanda said, are dominant. They're decisive and direct. So that person that's very direct is most likely a D. And here's something interesting too. Only 3% of the population are Ds. Their greatest fear is being taken advantage of. And some examples of prominent Ds are Oprah Winfrey, Donald Trump, Simon Cowell, and Martha Stewart. So these are the forceful, direct, and strong-willed individuals. Wanda? Uh-oh. Wanda?
I'm sorry. So when we know someone's inherent fear, that gives us a leg up, so to speak, on how to deal with them or why they're reacting in a certain fashion. Let's talk about our eyes. Our eyes, this is the influencer, are influencing, interactive, interested in people, and curiously enough, only 11% of our population are eyes. The greatest fear of an eye is rejection. Their positive attributes are enthusiastic, trusting, optimism, persuasive, talkative, impulsive, positive sense of humor, and they're peacemakers. And so here you can see on the slide some examples of some prominent eyes. You got your Chris Rock, you got your Lucille Ball, and you got your Whoopi Goldberg. I wouldn't say Whoopi is really a peacemaker, but and then you've got Robin Williams.
And then the next one is the S's. Those are about 69% of the population, and they are the steady, stable people who are good listeners, great team players, loyal, patient, and their biggest fear, though, is the loss of security. Some examples of prominent S's, which I can see Mother Teresa, Will Smith, Paula Abdul, and Ray Romano. So they're very social, stable, patient, loyal, practical people.
And they thrive on relationships as well, which explains Mother Teresa. And then lastly, let's describe our C's. Only about 17% of our population are C's. And their dominant personality proclivities is that they must be correct, controlled, and compliant. And guess what their greatest fear is? Criticism. They don't do well with criticism. And their positive attributes, they are analytical, and a little bit of idealism plays in their personality. They're idealistic. They're perfectionists. They're very conscientious. They're self-disciplined. They're talented, and they're also creative. And there's a little genius sometimes that plays in the minds of these C's. Some of the example prominent C's are Bill Gates, Condoleezza Rice, Mr. Spock, and Christy Yamaguchi. These are given to us by People Keys.
So what characteristics, after you've listened to this, do you think are most like you? Are you the high D that measures the desire to respond to challenges and solve problems? The higher the D value, the more aggressively a person will be in trying to overcome obstacles. D's are motivated by results. They like to accomplish. They want action. They like to do something. They like goals. They want to aspire to be something. Some of the general highlights of the D are they're very direct. So that's going to be the person that just tells you like it is. They're risk takers. They're decisive. Once they make their mind up, they're just going to do it. They're self-starters. They also have a high ego, and they're good problem solvers. Their value to a team is they're oftentimes the person that's organizing the group. They can be innovative, thinking up new ideas. And they're also going to be the person that kind of keeps the team on track because they place a high value on time. And they will also sometimes challenge the status quo. Some of their limitations could be they don't like routines, they get easily bored, and they might overstep authority, just do what they think they should do instead of doing it the right way. And they can be argumentative.
And then let's talk about our eyes. Now, our eyes measures the desire to influence or persuade. I got to tell you, I don't know, I'm an I, high I, and a high S. and it makes total sense. It matches exactly the way I am. The higher the I value, the more verbal and persuasive an individual will be. So I's are motivated by recognition, thrives on attention, popularity, likes being liked, enjoyment, likes to like what they're doing. They laugh a lot. The general highlights of our I's are they're enthusiastic, they're trusting, they're optimistic, they're encouragers, they're persuasive, they're outgoing. And the value to a team for an I would be they negotiate well, they motivate others, they're creative problem solvers, and they have a positive sense of humor. Positive limitations are prefers popularity over results, low results focus, and attention to details, may overuse their gestures. They're very animated. Now, I gave this example because I am in the midst of being certified as a certified human behavior consultant and with People Keys. So I'm taking, in the middle of taking this course, and my instructor gave me this analogy I'm going to share with you tonight that really kind of gives you a glaring, obvious view of different personality styles. And it is that 4 people are in the elevator. The 4 people are each one of these different personality styles. Now, the D, well, let me ask you, and I did this with Suzanne. I'll just tell you, the D is pushing the button. They've already pushed it, but he's pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. We got to get up to this next floor. One of them is looking at the weight requirements and when the elevator was last serviced that they have on the wall. Who do you think that would be, Suzanne? Or anybody can answer this.
That's the ask we haven't really talked about yet.
Huh?
Did we do the ask
yet? That's the characteristic we haven't talked about yet, huh?
Yeah. See, that was a trick question, Wanda. Only I knew the answer to
that. Okay, maybe I'll save my story till we talk about the next characteristic.
Okay. Go ahead. Let's talk about the ask real quick. Our third characteristic is the ask. Exactly like Wanda said, they have a desire for stability. So they would be the one checking to make sure that the elevator could hold all the people in the elevator. They're also resistant to change. And the higher the S value, the more the person likes to start and complete a project on time. So they will get the project done on time. They are motivated by relationships. They're loyal and helpful. And they like sincere appreciation, focusing on the sincere, not fake appreciation, real appreciation. Support, they're motivated by support. They like to work in a team environment. Some of the general highlights are they're steady, peacemakers, they're friendly, they're also team players, they're compassionate, they're understanding. And in a team, they're going to be that dependable, loyal person that you know will get it done. I like those people. They're hardworking, patient, empathetic, good at reconciliation. But some of their limitations are they can hold grudges and they can be sensitive. They also might just promote the status quo and not want to see things differently. And they can be sometimes slow to adjust to change.
Okay,
now here's the guy looking at the...
No. Actually, no, the guy that's looking at the certificate on the wall of the elevator is this guy here. This guy here, the C, measures their desire to comply with the rules and regulations. The higher the C value, the stronger the desire to be compliant. So that's where the compliancy comes in, Suzanne. They want to make sure that that elevator is compliant, correct, and detailed. So C is what motivates your C. They think this: if you do it, you better do it right. You've heard that from people. Don't do it right or don't do it at all. That's probably a C person. They're motivated by facts and data, not intuition. Information is power. That's their mantra. And rules and systems reign. they are made to follow. The general highlights of a C is going to be they're accurate, they're systematic, they're analytical, they're precise, they're compliant, and they're perfectionists. The value to the team, they are objective and factual, detail-oriented, conscientious and steady, and information analysis. But there are possible limitations. They don't talk too much. A lot of them are nonverbal. They're slow and cautious. They need a precedent sometimes to act. And sometimes they suffer from paralysis analysis. If you know somebody like that, they're probably a C. Now back to my elevator story. So there's 4 of them in the elevator. The one who's pushing the button is a what?
D.
Impatient, results-oriented, dominant, wants to get to the next floor. Then there's one of them that's going to say, try to be funny, and they're going to say, lingerie next on the 3rd floor. Ha, ha, ha. Who's that?
I.
That's the I. Then one of them is, so we've got the D, so one of them is standing at the door, and here comes a 5th person wanting to get on the elevator, and they're running, and their hands are filled with bags, and they're trying to make it before the door closes. And this person is saying, hold on, everybody, hold on, they're on their way. There's only a second they'll be here. Let's let them get on the elevator. Who's that?
The S.
That's the S. Relationships are important to them.
Oh boy. All right. So Bob Proctor reminds us, change is inevitable, but personal growth is a choice. So now we're going to go over each one of these personalities and in what areas they could personally grow. So for the Ds, as we've sort of told you, they may be perceived as always speaking and not listening to others. So the D may need to strive to listen a little more actively and be attentive to other team members' ideas and strive for consensus when making decisions instead of making them alone. Instead of making only broad, decisive statements, be careful to explain the whys of your proposals and decisions. This D person can also be controlling and domineering at times and will need to watch their tone and their body language when feeling frustrated and stressed out. The D can sometimes be all business and goals, and so sometimes they might need to focus more on developing their personal relationships and recognizing the opinions and feelings and desires of others. And it may take some intentionality for them to be friendlier and more approachable. So these are some of the personal growth areas for those that have a high D.
Now, I just want to add too, if the greatest fear of a D is being taken advantage of, then these growth areas are really important, because in a team, you have to be able to trust the people on your team. So it doesn't mean that you turn over all of your control to people that you don't trust, but it does mean that you need to bring people on your team that are trustable and trainable so that you can feel comfortable in releasing control and that you can get rid of or manage your fear of being taken advantage of. So the next growth area would be for the I's. Let's talk about their growth. The I's, they tend to be impulsive in decision-making and would benefit from some research and contemplation before acting, instead of, yeah, that's a great idea, let's do it now, when are we going to get started? They are wonderful at presenting and motivating and problem solving, but sometimes may be slow to action. They could benefit from setting small goals, breaking big goals into smaller steps, and keeping lists. If you've got anybody on your team that's an I, listen up. They will need to practice exercising control over actions, words, and emotions. I styles tend to be very quick thinkers and may need to slow down the pace for other team members. As natural talkers we are, I styles may need to concentrate on talking less and learning more. The I style may tend to say yes and overpromise. They shouldn't take on more than they can accomplish and will need to concentrate on following through with tasks. I know a service provider in the industry who always overpromises, great personality, great gregarious person, but it gets a little frustrating when that person can't deliver because they've overpromised.
Oh, I see myself in some of these. Anyway, so what are the growth areas for the F personality type? Well, they can struggle sometimes with change, and therefore they can struggle with adjustment, and they may need to work on openness and flexibility. Because they desire positive personal relationships and avoid conflict, the F may be overly agreeable and put others' needs before their own. So they need to be more direct in their interactions and be aware of their own wants and needs instead of always thinking about other people. It may take intentionality to express their own thoughts and opinions and feelings in situations, although they make excellent listeners to others. Sometimes the pace of the F style is slow, and they may need to increase their pace to accomplish their goals in a timely manner.
So there you go, S's. And let's talk about the C's, the personal growth areas for our C's. Although the C style fears criticism from others, especially for their work, they tend to be overcritical of others as well. So if you've got somebody in your business or at home that's overcritical, that might explain it. This is a result of their paying attention to such detail. When doing this, it's easier to find all the faults. It's important to concentrate on doing the right things and not just doing things right, they think. My oldest daughter, hasn't taken this assessment yet, but I guarantee you that she's an I and a C, because when the trash bags are not put into, the liners are not put into the trash where you can pull it to the side, and it flips over the edge that keeps it taut, it makes her crazy. It makes her nuts. When working in teams, it's important for the C style to be open to others' ideas and methods and to move quickly to help accomplish those goals. So the C may need to focus more on people in order to build stronger relationships, as they may have a tendency to focus on tasks more than people and want to work alone. Sometimes the C will need to push themselves to be decisive and take a little bit of risk, even if all the research isn't in yet to support it.
So I'm sure you probably start to identify with one or more of these personality descriptions, probably one of them more than the others. So as we close here are some questions to consider as you look inward. What are the strengths of the behavior style you identify with most? What value can your behavioral style contribute to your relationships? How can awareness of your dominant fear change the way you interact and communicate with others? And then also, what possible limitation of your behavioral style do you feel is the most important to be aware of?
So we're running a little ahead of time. I'd like to have some interactions from our group. Did anybody identify yourself either in this class as a result of what we've taught, or have you taken the disc and you know what you are? If so, you can put it in the chat or you can talk. What are you?
Do you want me to say what I am?
Okay, Wanda Torres says she's a high D. So she
There
knows
she
what
is.
she
High
is.
D.
High D. What are you?
I was a high I.
You're a high I.
Yep.
High I, and what's your next one?
D.
ID. Okay.
I don't believe that though.
Yvette,
But yeah.
did you recognize yourself at all in any of these profiles?
Even though I don't think you've taken the disc, or maybe you have, I don't know.
Or you were just in the description? Oh, Michelle. High D with a C. Girl, I knew that about Michelle. She's a get it done kind of girl, and she's definitely compliant.
This is Lori. I'm a high S and C.
Lori, you are high S and C. That makes sense. Relationship.
A friendly compliant.
Compliant. Yes. Awesome. Yes, we did it before one-on-one. That's right. That's Michelle. Yeah. So did you find any of our growth areas? What did you feel about the growth of the various signs? Did it impact you in any kind of way? Lori?
I think probably putting others first and maybe not speaking up.
Yes. So true. So true. And then team building, how to communicate with your team better. Wanda, did you hear anything in tonight's class that might help you, you know, with your team building and communication? I think she's probably cooking dinner while she's
No, there she comes.
I was hesitating. I did. I heard, well, I did. I heard a few things. And so I think the most important thing is that for me, okay, so I don't know how to, I tend to go into detail because when my team is not in order, my C goes up and I am paying attention to tasks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When things are in order, my C goes down and I can go and do what I need to do. And I don't have to be so worried about what everybody else is doing.
And one thing too I noticed for you is sometimes you said to me in the past, communicating that you felt that your team, you gave them the job description, you showed them where to go to find the answers and the solution. They said they understood and felt like frustration that they weren't able to follow through. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's happened multiple times.
And so part of this growth for the Ds, and it's not easy, but it's to stop and take your time and to communicate a little bit more thoroughly, slow your pace down so that you can make sure they understand.
Yeah, and stop and train, not just show them how to find the answer.
Exactly.
Show them how to do it.
Exactly. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, that's our presentation for tonight on the DISC personality profile. We really hope that you can take away some ideas and really have a deeper understanding of yourself and your life and others in your life. Are there any other questions or comments or ahas about tonight's class? I know in preparing this class, it really solidified a lot that I knew and even taught me more about myself. And I know, Suzanne, with you and I talking back and forth, you learned some stuff about yourself.
Definitely, definitely. But I have a better understanding, too, of what that S and C mean. Like, I knew what the I and D meant, but now I have a better understanding about what the S means as well.
So at this point, I want to mention that I think everyone received the SurveyMonkey, right?
No, not yet. I'm going to send it out. No, it's going to go out after this one tonight.
Okay, good. Great time to mention it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're heading down to our last class next week, which will be a recap. We would really, really love it. It would be amazing if you could fill out the survey so we can become better. We can know what you feel, and both positive and negative. And we would love to have some testimonials, only the positive ones, though. for that's the I in me, okay?
I hear you on that one too.
For future classes, that would really be amazing. And then one more, and I want to say one thing. We want your honest feedback because we're asking some questions about what presentations you liked most, what we could change. So we do want definitely your honest feedback on that as well. They're on the survey because we want to make sure that we can, make it. We want to improve and make it better. We want to hear from you what you liked and what you didn't like, what you'd like to see different. So, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, no problem. So then, go ahead with the next slide and the energy.
So this week we are going to have a few energy notes for you about the disc, so you can better understand it even more. And those, of course, will be up on the Facebook group and will be emailed to you as well. But this week you're going to have no homework. Yay. Or maybe not yay. I don't know.
Well, we've already figured out that maybe 12 classes is pretty long. It's been a lot of work, actually, to put these together. We knew what we wanted to talk about. Some of the information was already in Suzanne's wonderful book that, by the way, go ahead and plug your book.
Plug my book, yes. You can purchase it on Amazon. The easiest way to buy it. It's up there, Nourish to Flourish.
Nourish to Flourish. A lot of what we've talked about will be there. But we just wanted to chug this full for you guys. Are amazing, and we love you, and we already had a relationship with all of you, so we wanted to give you as much content as we possibly could. Maybe it was too much. Just let us know. But congratulations on taking the 11th step to mastering your energy, to reaching your goals in 2017. And listen, as you start next week, we just want to collectively set an intention for each other and ourselves, that we might have a deeper understanding of our strengths and our possible challenges of our dominant personality characteristics. And also that we might be aware that environment and circumstances will have an impact on our personality style. So we have a chance to grow. Just because we're I doesn't mean, or a D or a C, or, the weaker parts can become stronger. And that every personality can be enhanced with a little intention. Thank you for being here and for your participation. We're going to see you hopefully next Thursday for our last and final class, where we do a review. And our affirmation for tonight is, I am the...
no, read the screen.
No, let's understand each other. That's the one we chose. Let's understand each other, and this is a great way to get started. So, good night, everybody, from your FI and your ID.
Thank you so much.
Have a great week.